So good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to say that I am skilled enough to do this without speaker's notes, but if working at SAP teaches you anything, as we are, of course, a German company at our core, we have a large percentage of our population for which German is not a native language. That gives me an out for having my notes today. But I'm really feel very privileged to be here today to talk about my perspective on, in effect, how do you link a talent strategy of which a total reward strategy is a part of to your business strategy to drive change within an organization? Click are working. I've been very fortunate to work at SAP now for 6 years, and I've now been in the United Kingdom for almost 5 of that. For 3.5 years, I was the HRD for the United Kingdom at SAP, and without question, it was certainly the best role that I have had in my career. Primarily because we were able to dramatically improve our employee experience, our employment brand, our workforce demographics, and our culture. And during that period of time, consequently, we are the 3rd largest business in the world for our company. And I guess I should start with, if those of you who don't know SAP, we are the largest enterprise software company in the world. We have approximately 284,000 customers in 174 countries around the world with approximately 27 billion euros in revenue and just shy of 100,000 employees. I imagine that many of you do business with us in some form or fashion. But during that period of time, we were able to also grow our business year over year, both in on-premise and cloud revenue, which I'll explain what that means momentarily, and also really underpin our overall business transformation, which I'll talk about. And I did not do this on my own. I really have to call out the incredible HR team that exists within the UK, which is now led by my friend and colleague, Megan McCarthy, since June of last year. And here today in the audience is our Total Rewards partner, Neil Hopkinson, who has been, without question, one of the best partners I've had the privilege of working with in my career. And again, with our colleagues at Capita, who have certainly been part of this journey with us every step of the way. So, Bill McDermott, who some of you may be familiar with, is our CEO, and has been for some time now. He sent out an email earlier this year in January as a kickoff to our employees where he spoke around individual health being the underpinning of all of our success. And totally as a company, each of us individually must be healthy and have a focus on well-being if we are to succeed. And I think genuinely, if I look at our company and what we are doing, we are certainly leading not just within our industry in the technology sector, which without question is a 24/7 industry and probably the hardest one I have worked in my now 24-year career, but we are leading across all industries in this space. And so again, why are we putting this at the forefront of our agenda? How is it helping us to underpin our transformation in our business model? And how is it attracting a new generation of talent to our business? So I'm really just going to walk through what did we do, how did we do it, and what some of the results have been. Okay. So again, this slide here, I'm not telling you probably anything you don't already know, but what have been some of the benefits around having a wellness strategy within your organizations? Fundamentally, it is shown that with a comprehensive wellness strategy, you can deliver increased financial performance, improve cost containment and control, as well as enhanced employee engagement, as seen here on some of the statistics that we show on this slide. In terms of the workforce today, a focus on wellness is needed more now than ever. If we look at a modern digital global organization like ours at SAP, as we look at the state of the workforce today, we see that there is an impact on stress, financial instability, and weak social connections and loneliness today within the workforce. And I think this last statistic is pretty staggering. 87% of the world's workforce is disengaged. That's a pretty frightening thought for those of us who work in the profession of human resources to believe that most of the world is actually not fully engaged or interested in what they are doing. So in this global digital world, why is wellness on the agenda of the modern HR executive? Fundamentally, the role of HR is in a state of seismic transformation. And if I quote here our CHRO, Stefan Ries, we are seeing a dramatic shift in HR from delivering transactional excellence into becoming architects of digital transformation. And so, again, as our role shifts and changes, we have to be looking at different things than we have historically as an HRD or as an HR leader within a business. And again, what is our role? Our role is to really deliver HR services in a vastly different way to a modern workforce, and wellness must be part of that comprehensive wellness strategy that will attract, retain, develop, and grow the best talent in the world to ensure that not only does our organization survive, but that it thrives in the 21st century. So again, I will have a couple of, unfortunately, eye charts in this, but you will receive these slides, I believe, as part of after the session. But at SAP, we are certainly in the midst of one of the most significant business transformations in the technology sector's history. The move from a business model where you, in effect, own, and operate our software to one where you subscribe to it and it is generally run on infrastructure that you do not own. So that is a massive seismic shift in how most software companies have operated really since the beginning of the technology sector. So how we sell, implement, and support a cloud-based business model requires new agile structures. It fundamentally requires a new set of talent, operating models, and leadership to then lead the company through that. As we've implemented a new HR operating model at SAP to deliver strategic HR services to our executives and to our employees, it has put more pressure on us to focus on different things to do that. And again, as we look at within the digital world, with an organization of 100,000 employees, wellness becomes a fundamental pillar. And I've sat through a couple of other sessions today where you talk about stress, you talk about an always 24/7 culture. We live that every day at SAP, and I think Neil, who is here in the audience with me, would agree. There is not an off button when you work in software sales. There just simply isn't. And so part of our focus has absolutely been to recognize that. We won't change that. That will probably never change. What we can do is to put programs and strategies in place that allow us to be seen as addressing the core of the issue and giving employees and managers and leaders tools to actually work within that environment, because the environment will never go away. We work certainly in one of the most competitive industries that there is, and technology by design is meant to become obsolete, so we always have to be ahead of the market. And really, change is the new normal. So I think back to when I began my career at Pepsi 24 years ago, and we would start a change program in January, and that would go through, you'd have a 12-month plan to do that, and you would execute that over the annual operating plan, and then you would begin the following January. Change is simply the new normal today, right? So as we look at the role of myself and other of my peers around the world and leaders of our HR organization at SAP, we must deliver on the concept of experience, and as we like to say at SAP, moments that matter. We must drive measurable and sustainable change while using data and analytics to drive and predict outcomes that are tied to our business strategy. And finally, we must integrate these seamlessly with the rest of the business in what we refer to as the intelligent enterprise. And again, that's sort of a global level of what we are doing at SAP, but I thought I would talk in particular around what we're doing here in the United Kingdom. So this on this slide provides a brief snapshot of who we are statistically from within SAP in the UK, but also highlights the 3 pillars that we chose to focus on in our wellness strategy. So again, we chose, like many organizations, to look at 3 core pillars: financial, physical, and mental and emotional well-being. And we began that journey approximately 3.5 to 4 years ago, really looking at what were the right pillars for us to look at and how do we execute over a period of years to build on that strategy year after year. So this next slide really talks about how do we go about designing our strategy. So based on our evolving business model, the transformation of our own function within SAP, and the changing demographics of our workforce, like many of you, we now have 5 generations working at our company, required us to deliver the intelligent enterprise to our customers in a different way, and we needed a different reward strategy to support our overall talent strategy within SAP that moved beyond simple traditional comp and benefits. A key pillar of this was our wellness strategy. We looked at where we were at in the maturity matrix, which is up here on the left. We chose certain key pillars to focus on based on the needs of our current and, more importantly, our future workforce and its evolving needs. We made strategy choices that would not only support our brand, but would also help to change it in the marketplace. We identified measures that could both demonstrate that impact of our programs to our employees, but also, just as importantly, could demonstrate impact to the bottom line and the top line for our executives who run the business. And then finally, we chose partners who could deliver on this promise and utilize the right communication vehicles, tools, and technology to support that strategy. Again, I apologize, this is an eye chart, but the intention behind this is to demonstrate that as part of our strategy, what we did was to develop personas. So it was very important for us to understand, as we were trying to change the demographics of our workforce to become a cloud-based business, that we had to ultimately attract and retain different talent than we'd historically had in our on-premise-based business, while still engaging that talent. Many of whom had come through acquisition. So SAP in the past decade has acquired upwards of 12 companies of fairly sizable import and have integrated those. So when I started with the company, we employed 60,000 people. We are now just shy of 100, and that's happened over the past 6 years. Most of that has come through acquisition. So again, what we did was choose personas and roles in particular within our business where we could then design benefits and wellness programs around that to address their specific needs. Also, as part of that, and again, I've heard this in several sessions, communication and engagement is critical. So we were fortunate to have a platform in orbit that really became the key vehicle by which we engaged most of our employees, on top of the standard typical communication vehicles that you use, whether that was emails, coffee corners, as we call them in SAP, all hands meetings, et cetera, to begin to reiterate our message over and over again. And I think consistency in that message is critically important to drive the change. Today, almost all of our benefits are delivered just in time, so the concept of an annual open enrollment has somewhat gone by the wayside for us, with 24/7 access. And as a potential employee, you could all actually go on your phone right now and see this. We are very transparent in the benefit and wellness offerings we offer, and you can actually see what I see for the most part as an employee at SAP today, as a prospective employee with us. And so you've seen a bit of the why and some of the how in terms of how we have done this, but what have been our results? And in this case, I would like to believe that they speak for themselves, and I will highlight a few here on this chart. You'll see on the left the programs, some of the major significant programs that we have launched since 2012, but I think going to the far right, our business results. So we have seen our stock, I believe it now is trading at about 114 euros a share, has increased significantly in value. We've seen our revenue grow, we've seen our employee count grow, as well as a 10 times increase in our cloud revenue, which is significant as we are trying to pull off a massive business transformation. We've seen upticks in employee engagement, retention, leadership trust, our business health index, which I'll get into in a second. So again, we believe that the investment we are making in these programs is tied ultimately to a talent strategy, which is supporting our overall business transformation and strategy. And in the words of Jen Morgan, who is an executive board member who now runs our cloud business group, which is in effect our innovation hub as a company, nothing is more valuable to a business than having a healthy, happy, and inspired workforce. Speaking further to some of our results that we've seen, if we look at three of the key measurements that we look at, employee engagement, leadership trust, which is in effect an NPS by which we measure leaders who manage within our company and lead, and then our business health culture index. You can see here that for the most part over the past, since 2012, we have seen a general indicator of rising year over year over year. And I think, certainly being in the profession that I have chosen, I'm certainly very proud of these numbers because, again, we have a very open and transparent culture when it comes to feedback, and I think this is our employees telling us that things are working and our business results are showing up. Consequently, we have also won, just in 2018 alone, 281 employer awards. And I think the thing about awards, they're fantastic, but they're the outcome. They're not the goal, right? So they are fundamentally a measurement of what the market and your employees are saying about you based upon their experience. And if I look at our work in the United Kingdom, we have been ranked number 6 on the Great Places to Work list, number 7 on the top employers list. We were the only country in the world at SAP to go up in all 5 categories in our EDGE recertification, which is a gender equity certification that comes out of Davos. And we have improved in all 5 of those categories, as I mentioned. And lastly, by Glassdoor, we were named this past year the number 8 best place to work, which is an improvement of 39 places from the year prior. And that last one to me is arguably the most important because that is in effect our employees and prospective employees who go through our candidacy process speaking to us about their experience or their moments that matter at our company. When we first started tracking this, we were at a 3.3 in the United Kingdom. We now sit at a 4.6, outpacing our key competitors in our industry and outside of our industry, as well as our colleagues in France, the United States, and Canada. And we sit tied with our company in Germany, which is, of course, our headquarters. Now, I call these 5 countries out for a reason. One, all 5 of those countries allowed us to be named the only global technology company named a Great Place to Work by Glassdoor last year. And 2, I'm slightly competitive. So consequently, our turnover rates have also, as annualized from last year, sit at 8.4%. For our industry, it's right now at 13.2 in the UK. These are historical lows for us as a company and certainly exemplary in the technology sector. So I think what that demonstrates is our ability to both drive business impact as well as to demonstrate, most importantly to our employees, that our culture has changed and we have in effect become a true employer of choice for them. So in closing, having a vision, leadership, developing a comprehensive strategy with the right partners, measuring your results, focusing on a constant state of improvement year over year, having the right leadership support, and communicating effectively the impact and benefits to our business strategy and transformation were the ultimate keys to our success at SAP. So with that, I believe I've stuck to my 15 minutes. Thank you so much for your time today, and truly it's been a pleasure to come here and share our journey and our story with you. So thank you very much.